Alright, this is Francisco Perez here with another educational lesson. So here we are just looking at what's happening in Hawaii. You know, this may be prophecy, may not be prophecy, but we do see it may be a variety of things. But we're gonna now, since it's in the middle and you know it's been a few days, 2 weeks now, I'm gonna show you what's happening in my neck of the woods. This is Hawai'i.
So once again, I want to just jump back into the shot and kind of bring you some information here and let you know what's going on. We're sitting here at Volcano Village, and Volcano Village, for those that aren't familiar, it's probably no more than about a mile and a half maybe from the entrance to the Hawaiian Volcanoes, or Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And what we're watching is yet another incredible steam explosion that we're told is the result of yet another rockfall inside of the lava lake at Hale obviously hugely impressive. Susan Cabral, whose property we're at right now, who invited us up last week and again this morning, has been documenting this for us over the course of a week, but says this is far, far beyond anything that she has witnessed here over the last 7 or 8 days. And frankly, for everybody else, this is clearly a spectacular event and a spectacular showing of force of Mother Nature.
Sulfur dioxide in the air. Officials rated the air quality in the area as a condition red. A series of lava sprays illuminated the night on Hawaii's Big Island after yet another crack opened in the ground. The new eruptions launched molten rocks into the air.
I've actually seen rocks fly over the tree line, and I can feel in my body.
A plume of ash billowed over the volcano on Tuesday, spreading sulfur dioxide in the air. Officials rated the air quality in the area as a condition red, which means the air could pose an immediate danger, especially for the elderly, people with respiratory problems, and children. Fissures running through a residential area have damaged homes and forced evacuations. Officials can't say when the next eruption is coming or when the volcanic activity will stop.
The 19th fissure opens around the Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island in continued eruptions. Scientists say they cannot predict how long the current eruption will last.
At this time, it's about 2 months.
We have ongoing activity at Kilauea's summit, so the level of earthquake activity remains pretty elevated, and the summit continues to subside. We're having activity remains pretty elevated, and the summit continues to subside. We're having continuing ash emissions from the summit crater. They're intermittent and they're rising a few thousand feet above the crater. Yesterday we had a little bit of ashfall down at Punalu'u, and that kind of activity may continue throughout the day if the situation stays as it is. But
Hawaii continues to deal with an invasion of hot lava from an erupting volcano. Dozens of homes and other buildings have been destroyed. More than 1,000 people have been forced to evacuate. Carter Evans is on Hawaii's Big Island.
A fountain of lava more than 100 feet high, telephone poles lighting up like matchsticks, and this time-lapse video shows a house being consumed by molten rock. These are the haunting images of Kilauea unleashing its fury. The lava has already devoured more than 24 homes in the neighborhood of Leilani Estates. This car never stood a chance.
Up here in the helicopter, you can really see the destruction down below. You don't see any firefighters down there because there is nothing they can do. This is an unstoppable force.
High levels of toxic sulfur dioxide gas and hundreds of earthquakes still rock this community. Kilauea has been in a constant state of eruption since 1983. The most recent eruptions were caused in part by the collapse of a crater that was filled with lava. When it caved in, the lava traveled along a hose-like tunnel underground called a lava tube, where pressure built up and formed cracks that burst, spewing lava hundreds of feet into the air. We hiked through thick brush to see the lava up close. At first glance, it may not look like the lava is moving at all, but take a look right here at the leading edge. It is still slowly inching forward along the road. For a second straight day, county officials are allowing some of the 1,700 people evacuated to return to pick up the essentials, knowing they might have to leave again at a moment's notice. Kalena Kealoha fled the California wildfires for his dream home here. Now the lava flows are just feet away.
We're going to raise my daughters here, but doesn't look like it's going to turn out to be the scenario we hope.
Amber Makuakani's home is already gone, and the single mom does not know how to tell her 4-year-old son.
I need to figure that out. Yeah, my son asks, Mommy, can we go home?
And Carter Evans joins us now from Pahua. Carter, how long do we expect the lava to keep flowing?
Scientists aren't offering any predictions right now, Elaine. I mean, this is a very fluctuating event here. They say the lava is actually oscillating. It slows down, it speeds up, and they're not sure how long this is going to last. But to give you an example, there was a similar flow in this area back in 1955, and that one lasted for 88 days.
Wow. As you mentioned, this volcano has been in a constant state of eruption since 1983. Give us some additional perspective. You are from Honolulu. Give us some context, though, for how unusual this particular lava flow is.
It's unusual. I grew up in Honolulu, and it's unusual because of the way the eruption occurred. I've come here to the Big Island many times. I have family here, and you're actually able to, on the south side, hike out to the lava flow, the constant eruption, and you can walk right out to it. It's actually fairly calm. This one is different. That one is lava coming down the mountain, very predictable where it's going to go. This one is different because these fissures are just opening up seemingly in random places and spouting out lava in the middle of a neighborhood. Even some of the scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before.
Wow. Well, for people whose homes have been destroyed, Carter, what sort of insurance?
The scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before. Spouting out lava in the middle of a neighborhood. Even some of the scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before.
Wow.
I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before. The scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before. The scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before.
Wow.
The scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before.
Wow.
The scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before.
Wow. Well, for people whose homes have been destroyed, Carter, what sort of insurance is available to them?
Well, I've spoken to some people. Some say they have insurance. Others say they don't. It is expensive insurance here because we are on the slope of a volcano, and this is considered a lava zone 1. That means it's a high-risk area. Of course, people know that when they move here, but they don't think it's ever going to happen, and a lot of people are probably wishing they had bought that insurance now.
All right. Carter Evans in Hawaii for us. Carter, thank you.
Crack forming, the 18th crack so far, and more evacuations are underway. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is there on Hawaii's Big Island with the latest. Good morning to you, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. We are about as close as you can get to that 18th fissure. Police say this is the largest one yet, and you may be able to hear what sounds like thunder in the distance. It's not. Right there. It's those pops of eruptions happening, and driving in this morning, I was able to see it light up the night sky from about 10 miles away. Our crew here actually felt the ground shudder, and it's one reason that officers here have been going door to door, urging people to get out. This morning, fears growing as now 18 fissures, this one several football fields in length, ripped through the earth on Hawaii's Big Island. Huge explosions this morning, hurling lava reportedly hundreds of feet into the air.
In the bigger explosions, I've actually seen rocks fly over the tree line.
Listen as molten rock gurgles from the earth.
The first thing that I noticed was I heard what sounded like a jet turbine.
A sudden bang interrupting this live newscast from our Hawaii affiliate, KITV.
Again, this is
just feet away from homes, steam rising from cracks in the blacktop, and lava creeping just a mile away from this geothermal plant, the 60,000 gallons of flammable chemicals stored top, and lava creeping just a mile away from this geothermal plant, the 60,000 gallons of flammable chemicals stored there removed, but residents still on edge. Creeping just a mile away from this geothermal plant, the 60,000 gallons of flammable chemicals stored there removed, but residents still on edge.
I don't want to get smogged out with
flammable chemicals stored there removed. But residents still on edge.
I don't want to get smogged out with geothermal blowout toxins.
This drone video shot over the weekend shows the scope of the lava flow, a river of molten black rock swallowing roads, homes, charring sections of forest. Another major concern, a potential steam explosion. The lava lake at Hawaii's Kilauea volcano dropping more than 1,000 feet out of sight. Scientists worry that if it drops below the water table and rockfalls create a blockage, the steam generated by the water and lava could build up enough pressure to send car-sized boulders flying into the air. And you can see that steam and the light from that lava gurgling out right now. It is still happening, but obviously that
rock has been causing chaos in the streets of Hawaii.
I think it's faster than a turtle can move.
The lava doesn't move quickly, but nothing can stop it. And as you can see from this video, it destroys everything in its path. The lava is coming from Kilauea, a volcano on Hawaii's Big Island, which is home to these guys.
Aloha BTN, I'm Fiona.
Aloha BTN, my name is Sebastian.
I go to Volcano School of Arts and Sciences. It's about a maybe 4-minute car ride / bike ride to the national park, also to the crater. Right now the lava is causing people to evacuate and causing homes to be damaged and pets to possibly be killed or they're running away. So it's not fun.
It's a slow-moving flow, but it's very hot, about 2,000 degrees. And it just burns everything in its path. But since it's slow moving, people have time to evacuate, which definitely helps.
The spreading was over 700 feet in the air. It was massive.
And the sound?
Oh, it's like a jet engine. Massive.
And the sound?
Oh, it's like a jet engine. It was over 700 feet in the air. It was massive.
And the sound?
Oh, it's like a jet engine.
You've seen this volcano up close and personal. Did this morning blow you away?
This morning is the biggest I ever seen yet. Out of this whole eruption, and just the power and how much it was packing this morning. It was packing a huge punch this morning for sure.
As a result of the latest activity, more families have been told to evacuate. Mimi Portia left with her dog and anything else she could fit into her car.
Furniture and things aren't important. Life, animals, pets. Get going, and we have a great community, and I appreciate everyone so much. They're really pitching in. It's not about what you have anymore. It's about really being safe and getting to the services that are provided for us.
Cruising for years.
Yeah, so this is what scientists are trying to figure out right now, and there's some amazing information online if you want to follow along with the scientific details from United States Geological Survey. This is, again, an area that hasn't seen a lava flow in several decades, so they're trying to figure out as much. This is, again, an area that hasn't seen a lava flow in several decades, so they're trying to figure out as much as they can about these new fissures, but what they think has happened is this main magma plume figure out as much as they can about these new fissures, but what they think has happened is this main magma plume under the crater that's been giving these tourist lava fields since the 80s. There have been these new tubes, underwater or underground tubes, I should say, redirecting some of that lava out towards the eastern end of the Big Island. So this is a relatively new area. They're trying to figure out why that magma might have moved. Does it have anything to do with shifting of plates underground, upwelling of new magma? The volcanic islands for thousands of years have been very active, and the situation changes quite often. So scientists are trying to figure out why this magma has begun a new movement and how long that might be in place for. This main crater, as I spoke about earlier, this is where lava fields have become a major tourist attraction. So this is the main lava fields that have been going since the 80s. This area, where I've indicated the new fissures, that's an area that hasn't seen volcanic eruption since the 60s. So since about 1965, volcanic eruptions and fissures in that area have stopped. Since then, we've seen the rainforest grow back over. We've had new developments, but it looks like this new section that is tapping back into the magma, the main magma chamber under the volcano. We now have these tubes leading that volcanic magma to this new area. So an area we haven't seen eruptions in several decades.
Gabrielle Pitra asks this: on a scale of importance, how big of a deal is the Kilauea eruption compared to other modern eruptions?
Figure out as much as they can about these new fissures, but what they think has happened is this main magma plume under the crater that's been giving these tourist lava fields since the 80s. There have been these new tubes, underwater or underground tubes, I should say, redirecting some of that lava out towards the eastern end of the Big Island. So this is a relatively new area. They're trying to figure out why that magma might have moved. Does it have anything to do with shifting of plates underground, upwelling of new magma? The volcanic islands for thousands of years have been very active, and continue to send me your questions. Christian Tatanetti asks, are the small earthquake signs that pressure is being released? Could less tremors mean pressure is building up? I really wanted to talk about the seismic activity, so let me take you to the USGS's latest earthquake map. So here's the Big Island. Here are all of the tremors just in the past 24 hours that have happened on the seismic activity. So let me take you to the USGS's latest earthquake map. So here's the Big Island. Here are all of the tremors just in the past 24
So right here is the geothermal facility.
4 hours that have happened on the Big Island. We started to see this earthquake activity early next week before those new fissures opened. And the earthquakes are a sign that magma is moving, that things are changing early next week before those new fissures opened. And the earthquakes are a sign that magma is moving, that things are changing. Earthquakes are a sign that magma is moving, that things are changing. Earthquakes are a sign that magma is moving, that things are changing Earthquakes are a sign that magma is moving, that things are changing underground. They're not a result of eruptions, but they're a sign that things are happening underground. So if the earthquakes stop, that means the magma is paused for a moment. But at any point in time, we could see this activity pick up. This is part of the regular cycle of magma movements. Marcus asks, is Yellowstone next? Naturally, we think about all of the other big Mount Cleveland related to what's going on in Hawaii. any sort of connection to any other volcanic eruptions happening anywhere around the world is likely not related. So what's happening under the Hawaiian Islands is we have this hot spot where the two tectonic plates are actually moving apart. It's a spreading zone, and what's happening anywhere around the world is likely not related. So what's happening under the Hawaiian Islands is we have this hot spot where the two tectonic plates are actually moving apart. It's a spreading zone, and this is why magma is able to come up from underneath the Earth's surface. So
she said the reason why this is happening is because Hawaii is on tectonic plate, is on the ridge of a tectonic plate that's pulling away from each other, letting the magma, the lava in. But if you look at Hawaii's plate, it's gigantic, and it's not a two plate, it's one plate, and this hot spot is in the center of the plate. Not no rifts coming apart. Close the door.
So this is not connected to any related. So what's happening under the Hawaiian Islands is we have this hot spot where the two tectonic plates are actually moving apart. It's a spreading zone, and this is why magma is able to come up from underneath the Earth. What's happening anywhere around the world is likely not related. So what's happening under the Hawaiian Islands is we have this hot spot where the two tectonic plates are actually moving apart. It's a spreading zone, and this is why magma is able to come up from underneath the Earth's surface. So this is not connected to any other type of tectonic area, and it wouldn't likely trigger any other sort of volcanic or seismic activity anywhere else around the world. This is really connected to this one hotspot of magma. Someone on Twitter has asked, are people likely to fall ill as a result of the air quality? So scientists are watching the gas that's coming out, sulfur dioxide, very closely. This is one of the big reasons why there have been so many evacuations, 1,700 people out of their homes right now. The lava isn't actually exploding or spreading across a huge area. I think 31 homes. Any sort of connection to any other volcanic eruptions happening anywhere around the world is likely not related. So what's happening under the Hawaiian Islands is we have this hot spot where the two tectonic plates are actually moving apart. It's a spreading zone, and this is why magma is able to come up from underneath the Earth's surface. So this is not connected to any other type of tectonic area, and it wouldn't likely trigger any other sort of volcanic or seismic activity anywhere else around the world. This is really connected to this one hotspot of magma.
In the molten rock that align with the Earth's magnetic field.
Yeah.
And then they freeze and they're stuck there.
Oh, okay, go on.
And the Earth's magnetic field would reverse. And so what they were seeing was these stripes was the reversals of the Earth's magnetic field. And
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And the other thing they noticed is across the Pacific, it's symmetrical. It looks almost like a barcode.
Yeah.
But it's a symmetrical barcode. And they're like, well, that means that all of that crust is being produced in the same place.
And this is how we learn that the Earth even has plates. It's the #1 thing you learn in Earth science.
Tectonic plates.
And we figured it out because these lines of little magnets. And this is how we learn that the Earth even has plates. It's the #1 thing you learn in Earth science.
Tectonic plates.
And we figured it out because these lines you learn in Earth science.
Tectonic plates.
And we figured it out because these lines of little magnets learn in Earth science.
Tectonic plates.
And we figured in Earth science.
Tectonic plates.
And we figured it out because these lines of little magnets aligned with Earth's magnetic field as it flipped over millions of years and then was frozen into the rock. Amazing. The vast majority of volcanic activity on Earth occurs along plate lines. And that makes sense because if you're gonna spill your guts, you're more likely to do it along a seam. But there's one glaring exception.
Hawaii is dead in the middle of a plate. Plate tectonics doesn't explain. Hawaii is dead in the middle.
Glaring exception. But there's one glaring exception. But there's one glaring exception. But there's one glaring exception.
Hawaii is dead in the middle of a plate. Plate tectonics doesn't explain a place like Hawaii. So that's sort of a problem. So what people call on is this theory called mantle plume theory. And the idea, right, is to thermal convection is hot stuff is less dense, cold stuff is more dense, cold stuff goes down, hot stuff comes up. So you imagine convection as the boiling of water on your stovetop, right? In the Earth, that convection is happening in solid rock. Yeah, so we're talking about motion of solid rock, right? Because at those time scales and at those length scales, the ground, the solid rock that you feel is as viscous as the maple syrup that you're
That's
pouring.
amazing. So this is rock moving through rock.
Yeah.
Wow. Rock moving through rock.
Yeah.
So this is rock moving through rock.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So this is rock moving through rock.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So this is rock moving through rock.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you scale things the way that we think that they scale, it looks like a lava lamp, right? You have some hot stuff rising. Think that they scale. Think that they scale. It looks things the way that we think that they scale. If you scale things the way that we think that they scale, if you scale things the way that we think that they scale, if you scale things the way that we think that they scale, it looks like a lava lamp, right? You have some hot stuff rising, and it starts with a big blob, and then there's this long skinny tail behind it. The same physics happens in like nuclear bombs, right? You know, the mushroom cloud is the same idea, right? There's that big buoyant plume, and then the tail, the skinny tail behind. So the idea is that Hawaii and the Hawaiian Islands and these other hotspot volcanoes are that tail.
Hold on. So, this mantle plume theory says that an unusual hotspot like Hawaii is just the tail end of that blob. Theory says that an unusual hotspot.
Other hotspot volcanoes are that tail.
Hold on. So, this mantle plume theory says that an unusual hotspot like Hawaii is just the tail end of that blob shape of solid rock rising through solid rock. That's it.
So then you might ask, well, where's the
bubble?
Where's the bubble? So then you might ask, well, where's the
solid rock? That's it. Rising through solid rock. Solid rock rising through solid rock. Solid rock rising through solid rock. Shape of solid rock rising through solid rock. Shape of solid rock rising through solid rock. That's it.
So then you might ask, well, where's the bubble? Where's the bubble? People have argued is that those bubbles are these things called flood basalts. This is good, I promise. This huge bubble just explodes onto the surface, and so most of Siberia is covered in lava flows, and most of India is covered in lava flows. Individual lava flows that are hundreds and hundreds of feet tall that cover an entire country.
Wow.
And
so that was, I mean,
that's
like,
the thought is that was the bubble.
Bubble exploding?
Yeah,
or?
that's that bubble exploding into the surface.
Like,
the thought is that was the bubble.
I mean,
that's
like,
the thought is that was the bubble. That's
like,
the thought is that was the bubble.
Bubble exploding?
Yeah,
or?
that's that bubble exploding into the surface. This is the tail and the head.
Yeah. And then as the head gets higher and higher, the pressure is released, and that means that the solid rock is going to start turning from a solid into a liquid.
Yeah, and so that's what we call magma. And
So
the reason
have we
it's super
ever seen anything like that happen?
Never. The reason
have we
it's super
ever seen anything like that happen?
Never. No. And
So
the reason
have we
it's super
ever seen anything like that happen?
Never. Never. And
So
the reason
have we
it's super
ever seen any?
This is similar to stars being born. We have all these different stars, and in order for all these stars to have been created, we would have to have seen one star being birthed. But we have never seen any star being birthed. When there's a brighter spot in a specific area, they say, look, a star is being born. But that is not the truth. So, if we've never seen a star being born, then how do we get these theories about stars and being born? Just like these volcanic theories, which we have never seen.
Anything like that happen?
Never.
Would it be?
Reason
have
it's
we
super
ever seen anything like that happen?
Never.
Reason have
it's
we
super
ever seen anything like that happen?
Never.
Would
Reason
have
it's
we
super
ever seen anything like that happen?
Never.
Would it be an incredibly violent event?
Well, this gets good. There have been many extinctions in Earth history. And
you see how confident they are with a lot of unfounded theories.
Many of them correspond with when we think these bubbles explode to the surface. So the most recent one was 40 million years ago.
40
and
million.
It was tiny, like a thousandth of the size of...
How did they date this? Because if you study, they say they date the different layers on the bones and items they find in those layers. Then you ask them, how do they date the bones and the different artifacts they find in the layers? And they say they date the bones by the layers. So if you're dating the bones by the layers and the layers by the bones, catch 22. So this is just a bunch of lies that we've been fed about dates. These dates are not wrong, are not correct. The farthest they can carbon date something is 5,000 years old, because that's the oldest thing they have to compare. So when they tell you all these millions and quadrillions of years, that's just to push evolution. It's just a bunch of garbage. Push evolution.
Some of these.
Yeah.
But the largest extinction in Earth history, the Permo-Triassic, happens during the largest flood basalt.
So yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. Okay, so recap. The Hawaiian Islands are forming on a hotspot that's the result of one of these mantle plumes popping up through the crust like a hot pimple. You're welcome. And this might tell us something about the geology on the planet Mars.
We think that plate tectonics is not happening on Mars, but we think that probably mantle plumes are, and that's why we have these giant volcanoes like Olympus Mons.
Okay.
And part of why Olympus Mons is so big is because there's not plate tectonics. Right? So stuff's sort of piling up in the same place. But in Hawaii, because the plate is moving, you get snapshots. It's exactly like how your video camera works, right? Is you're taking a series of stills, and you can see the progression through time. And so what we see